Welcome again to Joan TV Media. It's always a pleasure to have you here with me. Here we are going back in time to our history. Winston Churchill once said, "The further backwards you can look, the further forwards you will see." Here I gather some information for you, so as usual I ask that you share the knowledge, like and subscribe. Today we are heading off to Trinidad and Tobago. Like other British West Indian colony, Tobago flourished on a sugar plantation colony, bolstered by the labor of enslaved Africans, that majority of whom came after the 1793 British rule. The history of Trinidad and Tobago began with the settlement of the Amerindians. In 1606, hundreds of enslaved Africans were brought to Trinidad. This was the first recorded instance of enslaved Africans being brought to the island. At that time, Trinidad, which was governed by the Spanish, was underdeveloped. The Spanish enslaved the Amerindians and over time mixed them so their offspring became mestizo identity. The mulattoes came about after Spain started transporting enslaved Africans to Trinidad. In 1517, by the time the Africans, mulatto, and the mestizos started mixing, the Amerindians had become almost non-existent. In 1776, the Spanish government encouraged the Roman Catholics from their other Caribbeans to resettle in Trinidad with their slaves. In 1783, the King of Spain passed the Cedula of Population Law, which promised free land to Europeans willing to relocate to Trinidad to work. With this law, the French got the opportunity to migrate with their Creole slaves to Trinidad from the French Antilles to work the sugar plantations, as they too added to the ancestry of Trinidad. In 1592, Antonio Barrow came searching for El Dorado, the mythical land of gold. He took possession of the island and founded San Jose of Oruno, now St. Joseph, which served as the capital until 1784. Tobago changed hands with the British, the French, the Dutch, the Coralanders, but eventually ended up in the hands of the British, following the Second Treaty of Paris in 1814. In 1889, the two islands were incorporated into a single crown colony. A few Spaniards migrated to Trinidad. Only a handful of African slaves were imported because there was little production or export going on. In the 17th and early 18th century, tobacco and later cocoa were cultivated using Trinidadian Indian labor. But after the cocoa crop failed in 1720, the industry declined, so the island remained underdeveloped until the 18th century. After the island was ceded to Britain in 1797, there was a rampant growth in slave population of Trinidad as the British sought to make the island into a model plantation colony. To ensure this, large number of Africans were imported to the island. Plantations were carved out of the bushes. There were coffee, cotton, and sugar. Sugar was clearly dominating the new capital, Port of Spain. Became very busy now. The island had goods to export. The European need for sugar had been increasing. The British island, like Trinidad and Tobago, were a monocrop society with few settlers growing anything else but sugarcane. So needs for more slaves was a demand. The need for slaves was greater than the market could provide it, so the West India Company was open up for it. On the plantation, the slaves worked from dawn until dusk. Some worked as masons, carpenters, coopers, blacksmiths, at the sugar mill and the factories. There would be a small jail which kept slaves into punishment, where they would punish them. Other punishments were branding of the people, mutilating, chaining, whipping, and even murder. Male and female were whipped indiscriminately. The white plantation owners in Trinidad and Tobago used various methods to maintain complete control over their slaves. Their principal method was to divide and rule the people. Members of the same tribe were separated on different plantations. Even families were separated. The people were deprived of their religion. The backbone of the plantation were the field slaves. They were divided into gangs and according to their strength and ability. There was a revolt led by Diago Donald Stewart in 1837 at St. Joseph. On June 17, 1837, Tobago, along with 280 other recruits, seized arms and set fire to the barracks. He was trying to overthrow the garrisons. This was all in an attempt to return to Guinea. The revolt, however, was quickly stopped, and Tobago, along with his followers, were executed by firing squad. After slavery was abolished in both Trinidad and Tobago, many ex-slaves moved off the islands and set up villages closer to sugar estate. Villages such as Belmont, Aruca, and Laventel. Other slaves gravitated to Port of Spain and San Fernando, where they became craftsmen, builders, and domestic helpers. I hope you have learned something from this video. Thanks for taking the time out to listen. I hope you have gathered enough information to guide you through life. Don't forget to subscribe and share to the channel. Thank you very much.